Welcome into the WCS Sports Connection. We have a special episode today, and I've got with me the OG Tate out on assignment, the godfather of this position, Dr. Jeremy Qualls. Welcome in.
Anytime I get a chance, I wouldn't miss it. I'm a little bit under the weather. Most people are probably shutting it off right now after you did that introduction because I made their ears bleed for so long. But I am glad to be back. Show number
800.
800. For those that have stuck in there this long, we appreciate it.
So in television, you need 100 shows to get syndicated. So I think we're doing pretty well. So the residual checks might be rolling in for you sometime soon.
I keep waiting. Mr. Producer said that ours have been shipped today, so I keep looking forward to that showing up in the mailbox.
Yeah, you're going to make tens of cents.
Tens of cents.
Tens of cents. Now, I got a question to start here. Williamson County, who has it better than us?
Nobody.
Nobody.
Second to none.
Second to none. Big week last week for Williamson County schools. 2 more state champions. Now 4 champions on the fall season and 2 runners-up. And Wilco goes 7-0 in the first round of the playoffs.
No shocker here. You know, you look at it, even though I feel like I'm far removed from the process now, I'm watching from the weeds, but it's, you know, that first round of playoffs for us, if you go back and do the last 15 years, I bet our record looks like Nick Saban's. I really do. I think that it's trial by fire, iron sharpens iron type situation, that our strength of schedules always come to play if you can remain healthy up until that point in the playoffs, and this is where we really shine.
Yeah, particularly in 5A and 6A, typically Williamson County teams are sweeping. No different this year as they go 7-0 across the board. We'll get to some football coverage here in a minute, but our lead today, the Brentwood Lady Bruins cross-country team, 6 championships in a row.
I think they're going for the volleyball. Let's see what they finished up with 9.
Yes,
9 in a row. So it would not shock me again if they did that. I was at Brentwood this weekend, Coach, and watched a little preseason basketball, and you start looking up on both sides of their walls of the state championships. You know, they have literally, I would start a hashtag out there, first to 100. They will be the first public school system to potentially have 100 state championships, and they're closing in on that number.
Well, it didn't stop there. Indy girls finished 3rd, Summit finishes 5th, Nolo finishes 6th. We had 4 teams qualify to the region, all finishing in the top 6. 6 of the top 10 individual finishers were from Wilco schools, including Lauren Banovic, who won it outright. Larkin Johnson from Centennial finished 4th. Lorelei Witten, just a sophomore from Summit, finishes 5th. Sienna Anderson, also from Summit, finishing 6th. Emmy Underwood, a freshman from Indy, finishing 9th. And Leah Banovic finishing 10th.
Well, several things here. When you get to the individual sports, Coach Whitlock, as you know, we own it. Wilco completely owns the state in any of the individual. This is considered an individual sport. Even though you have a team concept there, you think about tennis, you think about golf, you think about cross country, things like that. We literally own the marketplace in that. And we also, I don't know if this is part of your notes, we have my daughter runs for the middle school. There's a young lady at Sunset right now that was going for the state championship, end up winning it, but going for the state record. She will next year be a freshman, and you can just go ahead and book it. There'll be an individual.
Sabo, correct?
That is correct.
Yes. Also a very good soccer player.
She is an unbelievable athlete, and to watch her run at the middle school level with all the high competition that is Williamson County Middle Schools, she's winning by a 2-minute margin.
Yeah, we had middle school champions. Woodland wins the boys. AAA, Legacy wins the boys. AA, Woodland girls finish runner-up. I don't see this string of cross-country talent stopping anytime soon. It didn't stop there. The Indy boys win their first ever state title. Nolo finishes 4th, Brentwood 8th, and Ravenwood 9th. So all 4 region qualifiers finished in the top 10. Asher Oates, the superstar for Independence, finishes 2nd overall. Andrew Allgood, 5th for Ravenwood. Caden Pease, a freshman from Summit, sophomore, finishes 9th. And Kaylor Vaughn from Brentwood finishes 10th.
And what you'll see, this will be a slight crossover in the spring come track and field time, that we'll win all those events. The 1 mile we always win, and the other mid-distance we own. And you'll see some of these names pop back up in the spring.
So again, 4 championships this fall for Williamson County, 2 there in cross country, boys and girls. The Page girls win golf. Summit girls win volleyball. Brentwood boys golf finishes runner-up, and Brentwood girls in volleyball finish 2nd as well. So a banner start, and when we get to football, which is right now, we're gonna have some teams in the mix.
No doubt.
The lead in football Independence 27, Clarksville 20. This was the game that we were all looking at in Wilco that we were probably a little nervous if we're going to get or not. Indy's the 4 seed, Clarksville's the 1. I felt good about it. I picked it on the show last week. So did Tate. But, going on the road. Also, Clarksville trying to manipulate the playing field a little bit. Indy wanted to move that game up a day because it was a monsoon on Friday night. Clarksville wasn't having it, running the triple option. It backfired on them.
Well, it not only backfired, but it was ironic that it backfired at the worst time for them when they had the loose ball, if I'm not mistaken, at the very end of overtime when they had the possession and turned it over for the end of the game.
Yeah, the wet football.
But you think about this. People get enamored with those numbers beside it when it comes seeding time. And, I was the same way when I first started the job as well, thinking, man, we're going to go in and play the other side's one. And the more you get into it, I go back to that SEC mentality, man. They're just playing such high-quality teams every single week that when you finally get out of that gauntlet and get out and play the other team's one, it's not even remotely close. Now, this was a little close, probably closer than Coach Blade would like it, but it's not surprising to me at all, or you. And I like you, I picked this game for Independence to win too. Now, rubber meets the road a little bit more in the second round, and we'll talk about that. But really, that third round is where you start meeting up to get kind of through these teams that probably shouldn't be there. Obviously, we know that first round is vast. It's big. It's a large moneymaker for the TSAA, and that's fine. Everybody gets a shot. But you start seeing the real competition show up sometimes in week 2, but definitely week 3.
Yeah, with the new format, and we'll get to that here in a second. It's going to be interesting. Now, shrewd coaching move by Coach Blade. He benches starting quarterback Matthew Horner, who was 8 for 21 with 3 interceptions in the first half. Goes with a transfer he's familiar with, Ethan Langerbeans, and I hope I said that right, Langerbeans, who ran for a touchdown, completed 8 of 11 passes for 95 yards and 2 TDs, both to George Mayberry. Interesting story there. Ethan was at Lipscomb, transfers back, is not even eligible week 1 as he's going through the hardship. And then George Mayberry is a basketball player at Independence who decided his junior year with the return of Coach Blade that he wanted to come out, obviously paying dividends there.
How many people would have the guts to make that change? I mean, think about that. I can see Coach Blade right now in the process. You got to do whatever you feel is best as a coach. You've been there in the heat of the moment to say we got to make a change. Nothing against the starter, but there is no tomorrow when you get in the playoffs. And if this backfires, who gets the blame? Right, the coach does. And it's a gutsy move. Kudos to him. Kudos to the backup quarterback. It'd be very interesting to see who starts the next game with this. But you look at Coach Blade's system and the way that they run things, specifically from the quarterback, high throwing percentages during the game. The run to throw ratio is pretty high for the throwing side. So if you're not on your game, 8 for 21, 3 interceptions, with no tomorrow, you obviously have to change up. And maybe it was easier to change quarterback, continue running the same system to see if anything would happen.
Yeah, I mean, doing a playoff game, that's gutsy because if that doesn't work out, you know how this county is. You're listening to that chatter all off season. It's tough to get over. In a regular season game, the stakes aren't quite as high. Right. I bet he goes back with Matthew Horner, who's had an unbelievable year, 6'6", college prospect. Just wasn't going. They're down 7-0 half. He pulls the trigger on the backup, and the rest is history. So big win for Independence.
Big win.
All right, Nolensville 30, Portland 6. Congratulations to Coach Scott Stidham, who gets win number 100. When I texted him on Saturday, he said, well, it just shows I've coached for a very long time. I understand that feeling. I won a lot of games, but I was also around forever. It had more to do with my players, and Coach Stidham, very humble guy. Nolo has won 6 of 7. Only time they've tripped up second half of the season was at Page, which a lot of people can say.
Couldn't happen to a better guy. Yeah. Coach Stidham is a gentleman, a great educator, great coach, great leader of young men. I appreciate him and his efforts, and you know what? It's paying off. So congratulations to him. If I'm not mistaken, they're sitting at 8-3 this year.
8-3.
And won 6 of 7. Get your first playoff game under your belt. I think that might be his first playoff win since he's been in Wilco. I just greatly appreciate the efforts and the times that him and his staff and the way he carries himself on this team. And I think he'll be around for a lot longer. I think that he's building a good culture at Nolo, and I think this is going to continue on.
Yeah, I think he's in the right spot, class guy. Can't say enough positive things about
Yep.
him. Jenks Sentinel had 10 tackles. Josh Hicks, a fumble recovery. And then Newell to Bender. We've said that a lot on the show this year. Bender has 2 touchdowns, finishes with 114 yards, while Newell threw for 152 yards and then 140 on the ground. The 2-sport star baseball player, the lefty, getting it done.
It's crazy you think about that stat, man. I mean, you hear the names over and over throughout the week, but that number right there is up there, and that's those numbers. If he can keep that should be Mr. Football style numbers with 152 in the air and 140 on the ground. That's pretty impressive. But you know what I love most is what you just said. He's a multi-sport star, 2-sport star, playing in different times of the year. Obviously, fall football, spring baseball. Where many times we act like we don't have the bandwidth to do so. The kids don't have the bandwidth to do so. But you know what? You put your best athletes on the field and good things happen.
Yeah, I mean, as a quarterback, as a baseball player, probably missing spring practice because he's tied up with baseball. He's a heck of a baseball player. So that says a lot. Portland led this game 6-0. Nolensville reels off 30 straight. It wasn't really that close. It could have been 37. It could have been 44. Called off the dogs a little bit.
When you go back, strength of schedule. You go down and look at who Portland has probably played. They probably played everybody up in that north, slightly mid-east quadrant of Sumner County, not playing the style and definitely probably not the depth of athleticism that Nolensville has seen night in and night out. Now, I understand that Nolensville's a different category. They're 5A. Obviously, they have to play their region schedule, but their non-region schedule, well, this was where it comes into play, right?
Yes. Yeah,
So,
they opened the season with Lebanon, who had the best season they've had in a very long time. We're 7-3 until they got knocked out of the playoffs. Played Blackman, one of the more talented teams in Rutherford County, and then Page was their other loss in the season. So all 3 of their losses, very respectable. And we'll talk about it here in a minute. They got a chance to make a little bit of a run here if they can get through this weekend. All right. Our guys out on the western side on your drive home every day.
My guys.
Fairview 42, Stratford 21. It wasn't that close. 300 yards rushing for the Yellow Jackets. Junior Contrell Harrison had 3 touchdowns. And freshman phenom Julius Carter, we have mentioned his name on the show just about every week. Didn't score this week, 183 yards rushing. Jax McCoy, 151 yards passing. 2-sport guy. Obviously, he's not ready to turn over the hardwood just yet and play for Dad. Fairview continues their run here.
I imagine if you asked Jackson, gave him truth serum, he's going to try to prolong that as long as he possibly can to get in front of Coach McCoy, right? But, the McCoy name has been around a long time at Fairview. This is the 3rd, if I'm not mistaken, of the McCoy boys coming through. Just great athletes. But, Fairview usually has hit roadblocks in this week 2, week 3. I'd love to see him break through the barrier, have a great game like he did here where he can get to snappies and get the red velvet rope up around his VIP booth. That'd be Coach Hughes out there at Snappies in Fairview. But, you play Stratford, you watch Stratford get off the bus, and you almost think there's no way that this Fairview team can beat them, and they do it every single year. They get over the hump. Now, this 2nd and 3rd week, as the competition ramps up, I hope that Fairview can keep this thing going because you got kids like Julius Carter and Jax McCoy. I mean, maybe you can make it as deep as a run as possibly. I think the deepest run they've made in football since I've been here is that 3rd round. I'd love to see them break through that.
Yeah, I talked to Coach Hughes. They've actually never played in the semifinals. So they've made the quarterfinals a number of times, haven't got over that hump. This bracket sets up well for them.
I kind of look at it like that region semis game for us in basketball. It's always one of the hardest games to win because you know what's on the line.
Yeah.
If you can get in that regional championship, you know you're going to get a sub-state game, either home or away. Either way, you got another day to play a little bit looser. But yes, that 3rd game, that semis, that gets you in the conversation now. Are you going to Cookville or not? Right. That's where I'd love to see this team go.
Yeah, it's definitely stressful, but we'll preview that here in a second. All right. Ravenwood 37, Cane Ridge 14. Look, Ravenwood led 37-0 in this. Drew Parker had a touchdown catch. Jared Peterson, 72-yard run. Matthew Anderson, my guy, gets a safety. Davis Dow and Caden Pace add rushing touchdowns. And then Talon Vaughn caught a TD pass. They were up 37-0 a minute into the 2nd quarter. That's when I flipped it off. It was a Thursday night game. Just total domination. It wasn't – Tate and I talked about this last week. It wasn't that long ago where Cane Ridge – was kind of the big dog when this series was. In fact, knocking the Raptors out in 2017.
Always dangerous.
But the script has flipped there.
Mr. Producer, start popping that popcorn. That's what we call Popcorn City, Coach Whitlock. It is a boat race, and if Tate was here, he'd put on his boat captain hat. That is the kind of games you want early on to send that message. You can see a collision course happening, obviously, at that 6A level with the powers to be, right? Who are they? Oakland, Maryville, Ravenwood, Whitehaven. You see this match, you see this, we've seen these four make it through for the last 10 years.
They're staples.
And they are staples, yeah. And it's not going to be any different unless we see some unbelievable upsets. Don't know that that's in the cards, but Ravenwood is scary dangerous.
Yeah, they got it on both sides of the ball. I think the most telling statistic here, the quarterback duo of Maverick Chance and Femi Babalola, 5 for 8 for 51 yards. Didn't even have to throw the ball.
And where is Femi's current offers on the table right now?
Right now he's committed to Boston College.
Okay.
I think it remains to be seen. We'll see how it plays out. Still always a long way to go with that December.
Lots of money, NIL money, deals to be had.
It's a different world,
it is.
Isn't it? All right, next game, Centennial 38, Station Camp 28. Mitchell Grandjean, 3 touchdowns, ran a 65-yard score with 5:38 to play in the second half. Centennial was kind of in control of this game the entire time. Had about a 2-score lead. It tightens up there at the end. Really proud of the Cougars here.
Pundits didn't like this game very much. They didn't favor the Cougars too much in this. I'm glad for Centennial as well to get over that proverbial hump for those kids. It means a lot to them. Grandjean coming in from Page, I believe the year before,
Correct,
has been a godsend to those guys. I mean, it's really, really changed the dynamic out there. He's a great player. It's just for culture's sake. It hadn't been a great season for those guys, and here they come in, once again, iron sharpens iron. They playing all these folks, and, not necessarily winning those games, but when they get out and they play a Station Camp, they're like, this is all it is to it, because they're so used to seeing. I think this is where we have the advantage on all those teams, just because of the competition.
Just an utter relief when you're not lining up against those Williamson County teams. Again, Malachi Steele, 81-yard touchdown in the second quarter. Grandjean hits him again for a 76-yard touchdown with 5:23 to go. They kind of iced it. Wells Stanley hits a field goal, and Centennial cruises that 38-28 win. Great win for the Cougs.
Don't sleep on the Cougs. They're always dangerous every single year, year in and year out. Even when Coach Rector had them back in the day to now, they're always dangerous. Don't sleep on them if they get going. That could be a team that could be a juggernaut.
I mean, outside of the Page game, this team can score. I mean, they're putting up consistently 35 to 40 points a game. Who knows? Maybe they get some stops this weekend. They can pull one off. All right. Speaking of Popcorn City.
Mr. Producer, I don't know that I've seen one this bad.
Yeah. Even I was shocked when I saw the final on Friday night. Now, this game was supposed to kick off at 7. Doesn't kick off until 9. Coach Rathbone didn't even coach. He was sick. He wasn't even there.
Didn't need to.
It didn't matter.
Page, and it didn't matter if it started at 9 because it was over at 9:30 because it was running clock.
You could have played at 2 in the morning. It wouldn't have affected this one.
The pundits. Let's talk about our friend, the pundit corner. He had them at 42-point favorites. And I thought, given the scenario of the night, rain's coming, whatever, there'll be a lot of potential running of the ball. Clock will be eaten up. There's no way they cover that 42 spread. Not only did they cover it, they buried it.
Yeah, not even close. This is a blood bank guarantee here.
If you would have told me 5 years ago or a year ago that Hendersonville was going to get beat 62-0, you'd have taken that bet all day. It's just amazing. It's a telltale sign of Page is that good. Page is that deep. He has built a dynasty out there, honestly, since he has not won a state championship yet, but they've been there 4 years in a row, which then you get people moving in from all over the country, and people are looking, and they see that, and next thing you know, you're sitting here with this unbelievable team. It must be fun. Never had that talented of a team to do things like this, but to go 62-0.
Against Hendersonville.
We're
talking about a program that Coach Hatfield built up to be a power.
Yes.
No disrespect to the current Hendersonville squad, but yeah, this is not one of their finer moments for sure.
To all my friends in Gallatin and over in that Sumner County area where Hendersonville, I mean, that's just making your ears bleed. That's unbelievable. 62-0.
So how did it get to 62-0? 7 Hendersonville turnovers. Cohen Grissom, Eli Bell, and Quincy Finley all scored defensive touchdowns for Page. Forced a running clock less than a minute in the second half. Caden Ackerman, again, 2 touchdowns on throws from Cameron Cruz, a transfer. that comes in, who was just 10 of 13 for 179 yards. Ackerman and Knight Wilson caught 5 balls apiece and both had touchdowns. Ackerman 93 yards, Wilson 86. Knight Wilson, Air Force commit. Ackerman, Samford commit. I mean, they got talent on the line. Coach Rathbone's kid. I mean, this team is absolutely loaded. School record 62 points.
Are you a believer in mojo?
Yes, very much so.
So, well, somebody needs to tell Coach Bone that he needs to get sick this coming Friday in the next 4, if they're going to play this good. As a joke, honestly, but it's pretty remarkable. And you know what? This is a year, man.
I really think so.
This is a year.
Yeah,
we get over the hump this year.
yeah.
I think the kids believe it. I think they may be the best team they've had in their run up to date.
The most talented team, I think. I mean, and that, they had a Mr. Football guy on the team last year.
This is a year.
Yeah.
I'm feeling it.
The skill positions defensively on the line, they're the complete package. The only downside to this year is that we did not get to see a Page Ravenwood game. Perhaps we can get that done in the future. That would have been a really good game. A lot of people think Ravenwood's better because they're 6A. Look, I've seen them both in person. I don't know.
What about the 840 game?
Yeah.
That's important to those two communities.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I understand that Page is riding this tsunami right now and have been for the last 5 years, but that's a huge game for those guys. I've seen Fairview, beat them. And anyway, I'd like to see that game also, but definitely for getting better where it doesn't matter. Why would you? That's almost a necessity that they need to be playing.
Well, it used to be just a great game to kick off the year.
Right.
Yeah, a game day staple right there.
Yes, it was.
There you go. All right. Last game, Brentwood 33, Rossview 14. That score's a little deceiving. Special teams big for Brentwood, blocked 2 kicks, including 1 for a safety. Gavin Strang hit Parker Emerson for a 40-yard touchdown to get it rolling. And then he found him again, the 2-minute drill right before the half. Up 23-0. Some garbage touchdowns for Rossview to make that look a little closer than it was.
At the end of the day, they still got Brentwood across that chest. And I think a lot of people, I don't want to say that they look at it and just overlook that, but I think that plays a lot. It's a mental game that you have to get over. I remember when I was in West Tennessee, Bolivar was the same way, right? You had to go play Bolivar. Everybody's like, oh, it's Bolivar. If Bolivar was even 500, they're going to probably beat you just because of the mental thing. Brentwood is still Brentwood always. And did I not see one of their young men, I think it was Merrill, that was on official visit this weekend at Vanderbilt?
I believe so.
I think they have a couple kids that are getting looked at as well. So they always have the athletes. They always have the ability. They always have the IQ. Brentwood is never, ever out of a game.
Yeah, and whatever the Merrill parents are doing, they've had a flood of kids come through Brentwood.
Got some good genes.
Stellar athletes across the board.
Unbelievable athletes.
Yeah,
Walker.
Yes. And where's he now?
He finished up at Wake Forest.
That's right. Yeah. Originally committed to UT, right?
How you like that?
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's why you're the OG right here. Right here. All right, so the pick'ems last week. Tate finally got me. 5-2. I go 4-3, which leaves us in a dead heat at 53 and 23 apiece. We're gonna have to put it on the shelf this week because Tate's not here, but you get to pick for him. And we got some interesting lines this week. So the first one, we talked about Fairview. I talked about how this bracket is setting up well for them. They're playing a 8-3 Dyersburg team. You're a West Tennessee guy.
Don't like this matchup at all.
Yeah, this one could be tough.
Bart Stowe, head coach at Dyersburg, if I'm not mistaken. His daddy was Jim Stowe of Lexington, which I was coaching at one time. I do not like this matchup at all. I don't think this bodes well for them. But I'm going to say this for karma's sake. I hope I'm wrong. I'm going to favor Dyersburg on this, and I hope that the Fairview people are watching. I'll have a story on the backside of this in just a moment about why I'm saying this today. I hope they use this and they put it all over the locker room, but I do not like this matchup, Coach Whitlock.
All right, so the pundits have this at Fairview -6.5. I assume you're going with Dyersburg.
I'm going to have to say that I just don't like. I have a bad feeling, but I hope this is motivation for the Fairview Yellow Jackets.
Well, I've been on the Fairview train all year. Coach Hughes knows it.
Don't get off.
The kids know it.
Don't get off it.
The kids know it. I'm staying. I think Fairview wins. I think it's like a 28-21 game.
I'm just testing Coach Hughes. He'll text me. I'm going to test him and see if he watched this all the way through today.
Oh, you know he did.
Okay.
You know he did. All right. Next one. Centennial goes on the road. Memphis Central, the 1 seed out of their region. Centennial catching 10.5 points here. 10.5-point underdog.
I don't like the spread. I think Centennial wins this game. I think there's going to be a lot of similarities between the two teams. I think Grand Jean will be the difference maker, honestly. have to contain those edges. Centennial will have to be very disciplined, as you know. There'll be athletes all over the field. This will be a very fast, almost like a track style game. If I'm not mistaken, by me doing my research, Memphis Central beat Dixon by 14
Correct.
earlier in the year.
Last week.
That does not. Last week. I just don't think that bodes well. So I think Centennial does win this game. I don't like the 10.5, but you know what? At this point, I don't care if it's by a point. We'll take the dub and move on. So I'm going to go Cougs.
I agree. I definitely think Centennial covers. I'm going to pick them to win. First of all, it's shocking to me that Memphis Central has a good football team. That's actually where I was zoned to go to high school. Did not go there. Parents were not having that. They do play in historic E.H. Crump Stadium, which used to actually host bowl games back in the day. Little West Tennessee history there. And my dad will like that.
The last time we went there, I think Ravenwood may have played in that stadium.
Yes. Yes.
And when people say we all call the turf, the New Age turf, we all call it what? AstroTurf, right? Because that's what we always called it from the past. Well, they truly have AstroTurf.
Yes.
If you fall, you're probably going to get a concussion. That thing is like the old outdoor carpet. But either way, it will be a fast game.
All right, this next one. I think this one's a little deceiving. Page minus 21.5 versus Kirkwood. Look, Page is dominant. They're going to win this game. Kirkwood is not bad. I mean, covering a 21.5 point spread against them would be impressive. I think this spread, credit to the pundit that sent this in, is right on the money. I think it's going to be right around that number. Agree or disagree? I got Kirkwood to cover, Page to win. You got Page?
I'm going to get Page. I'm taking the points with it.
All right, there you go.
Clarksville, Kirkwood. Come on, man.
Well,
They
newer school.
They play football over there?
Yeah, they do,
okay.
Allegedly. Now, it could set up a pretty interesting matchup in that next round. It could be a Page Beach matchup in that quarterfinal, which would be a good one. I still think Page handles that pretty easily.
Yes, I do too.
But we'll see. All right, Nolensville plus 13.5 at Henry County. The only thing I got to go on Henry County here is that Henry County beat Brentwood pretty decisively in the middle of the season. I think that little bit of an aberration. Nolensville's rolling.
So if we're playing 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon separation here, you start looking at, they lost 49-14 to Page earlier in the year, right? Week 4, actually. Nolensville lost to Page 28-6. You start thinking about that. Once again, you got to get over the stigma. This is the one I was talking about with the Bolivar and the Brentwood on the front. Henry County, you got to get over that mental toughness. I don't know that the kids today even remember Henry County being a dynasty, right?
No,
so
not like we do.
So maybe it's not as big as a thing as I think it is. Henry County is always good. They have that Paris Grove School up there, the freshman academy. It's really good setup to be successful in athletics. However, 13.5. I don't like the spread. I think Nolo covers it, but I'd like to think that Nolensville is going to beat them. This is a really, really difficult matchup for them, I think. They're going to play well. I'm going to go out on a limb. Coach Stidham, I'm going to give them the nod.
Yeah, I'm going with the Knights as well. They're definitely covering that number, and I think they win. Now, Nolensville and Centennial both win. Nolensville hosts next week in the quarterfinals.
Oh, that's fun.
That would be fantastic. All right, Indy. This is a place that you and I have been before, going to Whitehaven.
Oh, boy.
Boy.
It's not easy to win there.
Oh, boy is right. It's a different atmosphere down there, and I mean that in a respectful way.
Very.
Indy, 3.5 point dog. Whitehaven was the 2 seed coming out of the region, beat Bartlett last week. This is not the Whitehaven team of, say, like 10 years ago.
Right.
Still pretty good. Tough place to play. As long as you don't get caught up in all the surroundings. I mean, it's not like playing anywhere in Middle Tennessee. It's different.
It's not. You know, the state is obviously 3 distinct areas, east, middle, and west. And as you cross the river and get into that west, specifically it's basketball country. Football's not always been strong. Whitehaven has been one of those teams, though, that always come out of that area. And, yes, it is a tough climate over there, man. I'm talking it's loud. It's fun to watch if you're a patron. It's a great atmosphere. But this is another track meet, right? Can Indy keep the up-tempo offense, keep them on the back of their heels? I don't know. I'm telling you right now, any edge bubble screen passes, you better be careful because that could go to the house any moment. But I know that Coach Blade's going to have his team ready. This is a tough one to call, too. This might be, actually, if you look at the whole sheet, this is the hardest matchup for me to do. And when I'm a toss-up here, my gut's telling me that Whitehaven's going to win, but I'm going to give the nod to Coach Blade, to Indy, coming off their win. So I'm gonna go with the Eagles.
All right, I'm going with the Eagles as well. They're definitely covering. I think they're going to win.
That could quite possibly be the biggest upset in the state if they win, though.
It would be a big one. Now Brentwood playing the 1 seed again, going to Memphis. We got 4 teams going to West Tennessee. The other 3 are obviously hosting. Southwind has a phenomenal sophomore quarterback, considered the best team in Memphis this year. I think Coach Finch is going to scheme it up. I think they're going to give them all they want.
Win, lose, or draw, they're not covering 20.
Right.
I can tell you that right now. It's tough. That's another tough one. I hate to do this against Coach Finch and them, but I am going to pick Southwind in this matchup. Now, the only thing that you mentioned that I did not know was that the fact that it's a sophomore quarterback. Can they defensively scheme good enough to contain him on the edges and then throw him off on some of the defensive patterns you're doing? So I don't know. This is going to be interesting to see. I hope that y'all use this against me and you use this as motivation, but I will pick Southwind because I am supposed to be picking for Tate today. So let's hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, I got Brentwood covering, Southwind winning. But if there's one thing that Brentwood hangs their hat on, it's on the defensive side of the ball. And
a Southwind seen defenses like this.
And Coach Finch, man, he's been getting into that bag offensively.
There you go.
Against Indy, first offensive play, they throw a double pass. It's going to take some stuff like that. It's not quite the same trip as having to go to the southern part of Memphis and play Whitehaven. Southwind out in the Germantown area, newer school. I don't think Brentwood they're not going to get caught up in all that.
They're
stuff.
not getting caught up in any of that. It's just whether or not they're good enough to win, right? I mean, it's not. Yeah.
Yeah, less talented team on paper, the better coach team for sure. We'll see what they can do. All right, last one, and this one I'll probably go to this game since it's one of the 3 here because when I talked to the Ravenwood coaching staff Saturday morning, they were ecstatic because Houston beat them last year, messed up their season, and they can't wait to pay them back. This is not like they took the foot off the gas against Cane Ridge, right? They are not doing that this week. 30.5.
Mr. Producer, for the first one of the show, here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Houston, you've had a great season. We love you. Thank you for coming. They've had this one circled for you. I agree 100%. 30 and a half points they have to cover. Don't know that they cover that. It doesn't matter, but they're going to make sure that Houston does not make it to the next round.
No, this one is personal. An Indy win and a Ravenwood win. Ravenwood hosts Indy next week. Oh, that would be fantastic. Could be a game day destination next week. Oh, it's still to be determined. We got to see how that works out. So,
stay tuned.
Well, this was fun. Before we close it out, the Godfather, the Guru, you made this job what it was. You're the reason I wanted this job.
Come on.
Because it wasn't the same before you got here. You kind of you took it up a notch. No disrespect to your predecessors, great guys, but what are some like we estimated you probably did 300 plus shows.
Yes.
I estimated this morning I've done maybe 50 when you include some of the coaches connection. I've done half of those this year. What are some memorable moments?
I mean, I did do 300 shows, and you probably look at the analytics, and it was like on a trend down, and y'all have got it back where it needs to be. It's good, and it's fun. I remember the very first time I got a phone call. I've been on the show for about, on the job for about 48 hours, and I was in the office, and Tate and I were talking contracts, and phone rang, and it was Mr. Producer, and he's like, hey, I'm such and such, I'm Creed, and you've got a show right now. And I'm like, what is he talking about? So Tate goes, yeah, you got to do that weekly show. I said, well, you know what? I don't even know what to talk about. So you're going to be my first guest. Hello and welcome to WCS Sports Connection. My name is Jeremy Qualls, and I have a guest with me today that I'm happy to be here, Mr. Tate Matthews. How are you doing today, Tate?
I'm doing well. I appreciate you inviting me.
And we came in, we did that show together, and the synergy was there, and we decided, you know what? Let's just keep it like this. Let's keep it kind of PTI-ish, if you will, and see what happens. Much to the chagrin to Mr. Producer and his partner, but I think the rest is history when we got here. But one of my favorite shows, 2 things that come to mind when I think about this show, is the Halloween show around about 2018 where we did the voiceover of all the coaches, and Tate really took that to the next level. And
so, Coach Ron Crawford, good job the other night, buddy. We're proud of you. Looking forward to the playoffs.
I think that was the first time that this magical prop showed up, and then the clown show prop showed up, and the boat race and the popcorn city, and it all went from there. And then one of the coolest things, though, I'll never forget when my son, he's a senior this year, he was probably in 5th or 6th grade, and we were standing in line at Publix, and the lady checking me out says, I know you. I was like, do you? She goes, you're on TV. And I looked at my son. I was like, and don't forget it. I was like, you must be extremely bored if you're watching the show. But I think the viewership, I want to thank all those supportive parents and coaches and people over the years supporting Coach Whitlock now, and Coach joins before him and myself, of just thank you. We hope that you enjoy this. We do this for the kids. We do this for y'all, and we greatly appreciate your support.
Yeah, to me, that's the best part you got in public. It drove my kids nuts when I would take them out to eat as the coach at Ravenwood, and I would run into somebody and they want to talk. They're like, can we go anywhere without somebody saying something? And now it's worse.
Well,
usually some criticism, especially on Friday nights, we go around like, you didn't pick us, or I didn't agree with this take. And I just said, hey, when you want to complain, jeremy.qualls@wcs.edu.
Well, since I've quit the show, I have faded into oblivion. So I'm glad you're in the limelight now. I can go eat without being harassed for autographs. No, I'm just kidding. This is part of the job I really miss. This interaction piece, this customer front-facing of talking scores and really, truthfully, bragging. I mean, you think about this, and I say this with no joke, a pride of us going 7-0 in the first playoffs, man. It's us against everybody. We are second to none. You've already got 4 state championships, 2 runners-up in the fall. However, you haven't broken my record yet of 7, which I had nothing to do with, by the way, but I always like to keep up with those numbers. It's really, really remarkable. I hope people understand how unbelievable athletics are in Williamson County.
And it's really, since I've been in this county, it's just been on an upward trajectory. A lot of that has to do with the population boom, but I remember basketball-wise, if you got a team to the sectional, it was a huge deal. And now if you don't have 2 Wilco teams in the state tournament, it's like, man, it was a down year. It's really escalated.
I think it's a testament to our infrastructure, number one. Not everybody has this job that you're sitting in. I think it's an unbelievable job. It's probably my favorite job to date, even though I love the one I'm in now. But you have the infrastructure in place, and then you have the density of quality coaches. You look around, you look at, you can rank all of our coaches regardless. However they rank out, the worst coach is going to be better than the other region's best coach. I mean, really, when you start looking at it, and our quality of coaches are great. You have the community around it. You have the resources available for individual instruction and weight lift. Everything is just perfect. And it's a really good scenario for us, and the proof's in the pudding. I mean, we've won more state championships in the last 20 years than all the other public schools combined, including privates.
Yeah, and it's not even close.
It's not even close.
So, well, hey, it was fitting that you're here for episode 800. So glad to have you in on this special edition. We're going to keep working at it. We're going to keep trying to escalate this thing as much as we can. Good luck to the teams this week. We hope to have 7 more games to pick next week. That'll do it for this week. We'll see you again in about a week.